Hello everyone, it's me, Elizabeth Symes, aka Fairy Woman, and this is our first day of the Fairy Guides to Being Human Magical Companion daily video series. So glad you could join me today. We're going to be going through this book, Fairy's Guide to Being Human Magical Companion. It's a workbook that goes along with my book, The Fairy's Guide to Being Human. If you do not have this book, that's okay. I have a link in the description where you can go and join my email list and get a free download of the different fairy messages and action steps that are in it. You don't get the awesome things like the coloring pages or the journaling note pages. There's a journaling note page. And here, let me show you a coloring page. These are these awesome artwork from the great Catherine Nutt, who did all of the artwork for both this and the book. This is available on Amazon if you want the real hard copy, but you can go get the free download by joining my email list. And every day I want to highlight a small business that's online right now, since we're in the middle of this pandemic quarantine and a lot of people are struggling. But I'm starting off kind of a nepotism thing with my lovely daughter's Redbubble. She is an artist, and on her Redbubble store she has some stickers. Like, here's an example of her little LGBT rats that you can get. She has multiple LGBT flags done up as rats. There's also notebooks and different things on there. I will have the link in the description, and you can go visit it. If you have a small business that has an online presence and want to be featured in one of these videos, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to feature you and help to spread the love. That's the whole reason I started this video series, was I wanted to give to humanity. I feel like in this quarantine, lockdown, virus, pandemic experience we're all having, there's a lot of fear, and I think fear needs to be met with love and compassion. So I'm looking for different ways to be loving and compassionate, and what could I give to humanity? And the fairies were like, you need to get this video series out. And when I read the first day, when I was thinking about doing this, I went in and read the first Chapter 1, Fairy Message and Action Step, because I published these books 2 years ago, and so not all of it's fresh in my brain. And when I read the first Fairy Message, I got chills and realized, yeah, this is what we're supposed to be doing. So let's start off with the Fairy Message. Welcome to your rebirth. This is the rebirth of humanity's consciousness. This is when it takes its first full gulps of air and cries out for love. The collective heart is opening in a gentle future. Remember, birth is often messy and intense. You must burst through the limited shell you've been living and expand your awareness. So, some may feel like things are reverting, playing out the old cycles. Please know that even if they look like the old experiences, your consciousness is not the same. You are not the old you, and therefore the experience cannot be the same old experience. Become aware of your new reactions or perspective. Allow yourself to make different choices. You have been gifted the opportunity to gain a greater perspective of your reality. Allow yourself the grace of not reacting. Instead, take a step back and look at the people, places, and things with a different perspective. Now, choose your action from your heart. We will be sprinkling moments with extra magic for extra ease. So, as you can see, it's very topical for right now. The fairies have talked about, from 2012 all the way to now, we have been in this mass consciousness shift. And I've talked about it in my blog a lot, and I've talked about it in my weekly newsletters I used to do. We have been basically expanding the consciousness, mass consciousness of humanity. So we'll have our own personal consciousness, but there's a mass consciousness that all humanity shares. And what I've been getting from the very beginning of this pandemic is this is about the consciousness shift. It's time. It's like nature is finding balance. Nature is bringing us up into our next level of evolution. So it's a total rebirth of humanity as a collective. And even though we've all gone probably through different levels of rebirth in our lives, this is on a grand scale. And especially if you're an empath, it's really hard because you're feeling everyone else in their rebirth as well as your own. and kind of trying to sort that out and find yourself, and that can be difficult. That's part of what I want to do. I want to do the series to help you be able to clear what's no longer serving you, what's no longer helping you, and to really get clear on what is your beliefs, what are your passions, what is your truth, and being able to be centered in that in faith so you can move forward. The action step for the day one is question everything today. Question why you have the routine you do. What would happen if you drove another way to work? I don't think a lot of you are doing that right now, but question all of your relationships. Why do you have the people in your life that you do? Are you tending to the ones that bring you the most joy, or are you reacting to the squeakiest wheel? Why do you eat that food? Why do you watch what you do? Why do you read what you read? Question everything to bring your clarity about the choices you are making every moment of every day. This encourages you to appreciate different perspectives. And since I published this, I've talked with other people, and sometimes they get into like a critical mindset. And this isn't about being critical of what you're doing or shaming yourself or feeling bad about what you're doing. It's about being aware versus being unconscious. So sometimes it's just a knee-jerk reaction to grab something to eat, or knee-jerk reaction to just turn something on TV, knee-jerk reaction to connect with someone who isn't necessarily supporting you in loving ways. And this isn't to like shame yourself over those choices. It's to like look at what you're doing and what drives it. Is it fear? Is it you wanting distraction? Or is it something that feels really loving and supportive? Does it feel like a nurturing choice? And it isn't about to make decisions. This day is just to give you the open mind to start questioning and looking at those things. I shared this in an interview earlier today. I'm recording this on Friday. That the best way to start working with the fairies is to open your mind up about what you think they are. And so a big part of this rebirth that we're in, a big part of opening and working with fairies, and a big part of just finding your own spiritual path is to let go of your preconceived ideas and expectations. Because when you can step out of those ideas and expectations, you can experience what's already really there. And when you experience what's already there and start accepting it, that can grow. So I invite you today to just be aware and look and question the choices you make and what you do and how it feels when you do it. I think there's a lot in looking at how you analyzing how something makes you feel. Like in the moment you think it might be, oh yeah, this is my friend from 6 years ago and we're talking, it's great, but then afterwards you just feel gross inside. Maybe there's something going on there that you need to be aware of. And it doesn't mean that that person's bad or you need to cut out a relationship. It just means you need to look at the interaction and your part in it. So I hope that helps all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful, magical day. And we hope you are finding peace in this pandemic, and I hope this brings you a little bit of joy. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.